If you've ever tried to compare metrics in Google Ads or really any other ads product to what you see in Google Analytics, either Universal or GA4, you've probably found it to be an exercise in frustration. Maybe these metrics match sometimes, but more often than not they don't. Why is that? Let's talk about sessions and conversions separately because they are due to slightly different issues. First off, sessions and clicks. If someone clicked on an ad and you see a count of clicks in your ad account, why doesn't that number of clicks match the number of sessions you're seeing in GA4? There are several possible reasons for this happening. First off, how often have you clicked on an ad and then hit the back button as fast as you could, but the page still loaded up just a little bit first? That would record as a click in ads, but it's quite likely the analytics code didn't have an opportunity to load as it's the first thing on the website to load up. That would result in a click in ads, but no session in GA4 since GA4 never got the opportunity to record that session. The opposite can also be true, or if a visitor clicks your ad more than once, if their session in GA4 hasn't timed out yet, they won't appear as a new session in GA4, but they will show up as a new click in your ad reports. Redirects can also be a culprit. If your ads point to a page that redirects visitors elsewhere, sometimes the session can get lost between that first page and the landing page, and then the attribution doesn't take. Privacy restrictions can also cause this. Not all ad blockers actually block all ads, and it's entirely possible that someone could click a link that the ad network would still recognize as a click, but then their ad blocker would stop GTM or GA4 from running on your client's website. And finally, people leave tabs open all the time, even tabs they've opened as a result of clicking an ad. When that happens, the ad network won't necessarily record a second visit when your visitor opens that tab again, but GA4 will see a visit to that page from the ad network because the ad parameters are still in the URL that the visitors kept open for weeks or even months. Basically, if your clicks and sessions are somewhat close, that's great. Look for variances that are 20% or more, and that can indicate some kind of tracking issue like missing analytics code on your landing page, a rogue redirect, bot traffic, or something else. Now, conversions, why would they vary? Some of the reasons that we just covered would also apply to conversions. Redirects, privacy issues, people leaving tabs open, these would all cause differences in measurement between GA4 and your ad network. But another major reason is attribution. Ads networks use different attribution models than GA4 does. By default, GA4 uses data-driven attribution. If you skip the video on how does attribution work way back in the intro, go back and watch that. You can select different attribution models in GA4, but none of them are quite going to match what you have in your various ad networks. Google Ads will probably come the closest, but it's still not going to be perfectly matched. Plus, you may recall in the lesson about your analytics plan and ads networks, we talked about how you should use Google Ads tags in GTM, but then import GA4 goals as a secondary conversion so you can see the differences between the two yourself. Now, back to your conversion metrics. Remember that if you're using data-driven attribution in GA4, that data-drivenness is only in GA4 and not anywhere else. Plus, many ad networks use attribution models that favor their ads network. For example, in Google Ads, one of their models is the last click, but that isn't the last click in general, it's the last clicked ad specifically. Plus, in Google Ads, there's a lookback window that can impact the conversions you see, since the Google Ads lookback window might not correspond with the lookback window you've selected in GA4. Same thing with Facebook. They have 1-day or 7-day attribution window options. Basically, every ad network has their own fun attribution window and options you need to take into consideration. We've linked to some of the more popular ads networks in the resources, but their posts are obviously boring and kind of confusing. So that is something we have on our to-do list in the future to explain these sorts of attribution models in a non-robot way. Finally, how do you explain these discrepancies to clients? Typically, we explain them in basically the way we've explained them to you now. A really effective way is to start by talking about how many tabs they have open and explaining how they could be making someone else's conversion counts be inaccurate by keeping tabs open that were the result of an ad click, and then get them to think about all the ads clicks they do get and imagine all the different ways that people will not do exactly what we want them to do in the exact perfectly trackable way that we want them to do it in. Of course, if things are really, really off, like 20% or more, then you probably have a tracking issue on your hands, and bring it to the community or to an office hour session so we can help you out.